Hey everyone, Pastor Johnny here with Destiny Church. Thank you all so much for listening and taking time out of your day to allow us to be a part of it. I pray that this encourages you and stirs you up into a deeper relationship with the Lord. Coming to you raw and uncut. It's 3 a.m. Just had an amazing encounter with the Lord in worship, and I just wanted to come on here out of that revelation and just kind of share some things with you and just some truths this hour. Where I feel the body of Christ is going towards, and just really just daily love with the Lord and how that can truly impact our lives for generations to come. I just want to share this vision that I had while I was in worship, and I was just sitting with the Lord, and I had this vision of myself, my younger self, just worshiping the Lord. So, if you don't know my story, I came to know the Lord in 2011, had a really radical encounter with the Lord outside of my home, and so I had like this vision, and it was just like young me, young Jesus loving me, just finding out who He is, and starting to tap into what I didn't even know were secrets of the kingdom, and I just saw myself just worshiping, and I'm just like weeping, and just broken, and just remembering, like man, I just remembering those moments of just being alone with Him in the very beginning, just Him and me, before any types of distractions whatsoever. I was a single individual, and I was raising my son at the time, but it was just me and Him, me and Jesus, and I would find myself getting lost in His presence for hours and hours and hours. And as I'm seeing this vision, I'm just kind of coming back out, and I'm just talking to the Lord about it, and I'm like, Lord, like, what could this be? Like, what's the reasoning for me to have this vision, of my younger self? And it was just to remind me to always continue to adore and keep my eyes upon Him before anything else. I can stand before you now. We're about to have our 2-year anniversary for our church launch. God has been doing some tremendous things in our city over the past few years, in our school districts, in our local government, in our marketplaces. God has just been moving tremendously, guys. It's truly been awakening, and so in the midst of all that, one thing that I've learned, beloved, is that as long as you keep beholding the Lamb, everything else follows suit. And I want to say this because I had this vision. It was a Sunday morning. I was actually sick as a dog Sunday morning. It was my first church service to miss in quite some time. That was weird. But anyway, I had this vision of 2 pastors fighting for a microphone. And it was almost like in this dream that I was having, it was almost as if these pastors were under the assumption that with the microphone in hand, they would have the authority. Like with the microphone in hand, it would answer all their problems, or answer all their questions, whatever. I just felt that like there was such a power and authority put on this mic, and so whenever I woke up, I was talking with the Lord about it, and He just continued to just remind me over and over again, much like this vision I just had moments ago, is that He's wanting to bring us back to that place of a continual us and Him, of a continual first love over and over and over every day of our lives, and for us to continue to remember what it's like to be deeply rooted in our first love. I want to read something to you that really stood out to me. This popped up on one of my memories from my notepad the other day, but I want to read this because it speaks volumes to me right now. But Billy Graham said this, and we know Billy Graham, evangelist, and millions and millions to the Lord, and I never personally have heard many sermons from him. I've heard little nuggets and things like that, but obviously, I've heard some amazing things about the general that is Billy Graham. Anyway, we know that he's probably sat in front of kings and presidents and all these amazing things, and this guy's in stadium packed events, and he's just preaching the gospel. But here's what Billy Graham said. He said, "If I had to do it over again, I'd spend more time in meditation and prayer and telling the Lord how much I love Him and adore Him, and looking forward to the time that we're going to spend together for eternity." I'm going to read that again. Billy Graham said, Billy Graham, the great evangelist, millions and millions of souls, packed arenas, sitting in front of the most famous and leaders and all that. If I had to do it all over again, I'd spend more time in meditation and prayer and telling the Lord how much I love him and adore him and looking forward to the time we're going to spend together for eternity. You know, I believe that one of the greatest things to overcome compromise in the body of Christ is being head over heels in love with Jesus. In this moment here, a lot of times, and I tell my church this all the time, but I'm a night owl, so I'm usually up these late nights and spending time with Jesus and just, being as close as I can with him, getting some fresh oil and things like that. And I want to read, this is from John, and this is just such a profound statement that Jesus says, and it's in John chapter 14. But he says this, he says in 21, "He who has my commands and keeps them, it is he who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I'll love him, and I'll manifest myself to him." I think that we're just in need of a fresh manifestation of Jesus. Ministries and giftings and events and those things are great, but obviously they can get in the way of just a deep love and affection for Jesus. And right now on the earth, like, what we're just needing a fresh touch of Jesus. Like, I know this isn't profound or anything like that, but the truth is, beloved, is that, like, there's nothing that's ever going to be greater than us sitting at the feet of Jesus on a daily basis. Like, I want to encourage you in that. Like, there's no ministry, there's no amount of demons that you can deliver someone from. There's no amount of healings you'll see in a jam-packed crusade service. There's no amount of people baptized and speaking in tongues. There's nothing else will ever take the place of you spending time with Jesus at his feet on a daily basis and just pouring out fresh oil. And so my hope for this, guys, it's 3 a.m. and my hope for this is just to stir you up to just go deeper. Just remember and never forget your first love. Remember the testimonies of old. Remember the goodness of God. If you're feeling down and out, depressed, hurt, I had a conversation with an individual earlier where, they fell into some compromising situations, and because of that, they found themselves further and further away from God. And that's not because God's rejecting them or throwing them away. That's because they've made the choice ultimately to continue to compromise, and in doing so, they have fallen out of love. And that's not to say like, oh, Jesus, I love you, but the thing is Jesus is pretty clear. He says, "He who has my commands and keeps them, it's he who loves me." And so, in order for us to get to this place, church, it's not going to be us arguing over theologies and who's doing it better, and it's not going to be about who's shouting the loudest or who's whispering. What it's all about is us being in a place where we are going deeper into the place of intimacy with Jesus, going into a place where we are being obedient to what he's calling us to do. Beloved, I'm telling you this now, there's no greater place to be than at the feet of Jesus on a daily basis. Go and find him. Pastors, leaders, if you're listening to this and you're trying to lead and pastor from an empty place, get back to it. Shut it all down. Get back to it. If you're just in program-driven, service-driven ministry where you're just going Sunday to Sunday, getting everybody out by 11:30, hoping nothing cracks or messes up, but you're feeling drained and exhausted, look, this is not to shame you. This is not to point fingers at you. This is just to say, get back to your first love. This may seem like an elementary text, or this may seem like a basic, simple, oh, yeah, I know, Johnny. Yeah, I know I got to fall in love with Jesus. I get it. It's, but there's so much going on. Look, there's nothing else going on. It's just Jesus. And beloved, if we can get back to that place to where, like, no matter what it is, that we're beholding the Lamb, that we are just adoring Jesus on a daily basis, this is how we will begin to see our city set free. Countless testimonies over the past few months at our Dollar Trees, at our Walmarts, at our H-E-Bs, at our Whataburgers, McDonald's, Taco Bell, where people are radically encountering Jesus, where they are just, whether it's through healing, words of knowledge, they're giving their hearts to Jesus, they're falling in love with the man named Jesus, they're getting discipled, they're getting trained, they're getting equipped. This is all coming from a lifestyle of sitting at the feet of Jesus. I've talked to men and women of God from all over Texas and even some out of state, and they're sharing amazing testimonies of what God's doing. I was just speaking with my good friend the other day, John Daniels, and at the Pathway Church in Spring, and he was sharing this awesome testimony of how this woman who was, I believe that she was of another religion, and she was just kind of, at a place of just confusion. And he was able to lead her to the Lord, and she received healing. It was beautiful. But like hearing that testimony, guys, like it's happening all over, where lovers are just living lifestyle of loving Jesus, and there's a production of fruit everywhere they go. I don't just want to see fruit on Sunday mornings. And I know a lot of you listening, you want more. You're desiring more. It's not going to come from a place of just special services. It's going to come from this place of you being obedient, of you getting back to your first love, of you just falling in love all over again. And anyway, if you can't tell, I'm rambling. I'm just sharing thoughts and talking. It's 3 a.m. I keep saying that over and over again. But beloved, look, get back to that place. May this stir you to just get back to his feet daily. I'm not just talking about on your drive to work. I'm talking about like shutting everything down. What did Jesus say? Don't be like the hypocrites. Look, when you go into the secret place, don't bring a mask. When you go into the secret place, don't just go in there and tell him what you think that he wants to hear. Like, go in there and be intimate with him, be open, be vulnerable, be transparent. You know, I think a lot of times some of the reasons why man can't be transparent and vulnerable with man is because we're not even doing that in the secret place. I believe that sometimes why man can't confront other men because of their offenses is because they're not confronting the offenses in their own heart in the place of secret with Jesus. You know, it's one of those things where something I've said for years is that, you know, you can't have a plastic relationship with people and have me believe that you have a real relationship with God. You know what I mean? Like, and there's going to be fruit of your relationship with him. And so, beloved, let's get into that place where we are putting our affections and everything we have on him, that when we're going into the secret place, we're not wearing a mask, right? We're going in there deep. We're shutting everything off. We're going into the place where he is. Let there be a renewal of the secret place like never before in the body of Christ. Like, this isn't a seasonal word. This is us. I don't want to do anything illegally, right? Like, I don't want to do anything out of iniquity. I don't want to just, you know, hey, we cast out demons in your name. We healed people in your name. I don't want to be in a place where I'm doing kingdom illegally and not knowing him and not being known by him. Like, I want to do this from a place of knowing what his heart is and not striving to see some sort of manifestation because that's what I think it should be. Like, I want to live my life with my family, ministry, and the way that I lead the city. I want to be able to do that through a place of intimacy, fresh oil with Jesus daily. So anyway, I could be here all night talking about this, but I guess all in all, I just say, like, I really feel like where we're at in the body right now is, guys, we just got to get back to that first love, back to that place where there's no distractions, where it's just us and him, going deeper than just, you know, oh, my secret time with Jesus when I drive to work. You know, I'm talking about getting alone with him, where there's no distraction. There's no one putting their blinker on in front of you. There's, you know what I mean? There's nobody, you know, riding your back or, you know, being so close to you. Their headlights are blinding you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, beloved, get into a place where you are finding him. Don't let shame or guilt or condemnation hold you back from going deep into his presence. He is wanting you to come. He is wanting you to come boldly. He tore the veil for a reason. And so this is it. Like, it's Jesus, it's him, it's intimacy, it's love. And from that place, compromise will be eliminated. From that place, fear will be crushed. From that place, depression and heartache and shame and guilt, all these things will crumble under the weight of his eyes. It'll crumble under the weight of his love and affection for you, and you'll just begin to find out more of who you are and what you're called to do, because you're going intimate. There's a reproduction, there's a seed growth in your life, and it's coming from a place of you just being intimate with Jesus and getting to know him and him getting to know you. So, beloved, it's 3 a.m. I hope that this has blessed you. Like I said, it's raw, it's uncut, but I wanted to come on here and just share a little bit of my heart. I pray that the Lord, wherever you're listening to this at, that the Lord is moving in your city, not just in Sunday services, that you're seeing your local government, your school districts, your police department, your fire department, everybody just coming to the awakening of who Jesus is, that you're seeing your H-E-Bs and your Walmarts getting turned upside down for the glory of the Lord. And so anyway, I love you all so much. Thank you for listening and taking time out of your day for this. Again, this all came from just a raw vision that I had with the Lord. And it was just, he took me back, and it was just a reminder, a marking to never leave my first love. Jesus is good. Behold the Lamb all the days of your life, beloved. Thanks for listening.